Well, good morning, everybody. It is a Labor Day Monday, 9 o'clock. Per usual, I'm here in the Live Impact studio on WCNC Plus, and let's just ease you into the holiday. If you have the routine, you know how it goes. Chris Mulcahy joining us as well on this Labor Day. We're being laborious today, Chris, but at least the weather's nice.
Yep, no laborious forecast over here. It's nice because there's nothing really to mention as far as any storms in the near term, and it feels great. That's why I've officially made this my pick of the week, but that does come with a little asterisk, and I'll explain here in a second. But here's Dallas. Let's go right to it. You don't need to see this. Let's look at something more beautiful. This is a beautiful sky. We're actually seeing some fading contrails over here. We're, by the way, looking here over here in Dallas, some upper level clouds. Today's going to be a mostly sunny day, but at times it could be partly cloudy, so no issue there. Here's a look over Monroe. Gorgeous sunrises, by the way, if anyone caught them. And then over here in Louisville, good to go as well. You can see actually that fading contrail over there as well. So enjoy the day today. It is going to be a good one. We dropped down to the upper 50s this morning. Or actually, it was the coldest start to a Charlotte day since May 31st. It's been a while since we've been on the cooler side. And then 53 degrees right around Boone and 65 for you in Morganton. By the way, you've been the warm spot, Morganton, but Charlotte has now taken that title away, and also Lancaster tying it at 66 as well. So today is Labor Day, obviously, and look at all these happy people having a great time. That guy taking his hat off, the other one fist bumping here and there.
And ready to go on a flight.
Yeah, right? See, I want that for my captain. Yeah. And then I don't know what the firefighter's doing. I don't think he needs that axe right away. But anyways, we have 76 degrees for sunny skies starting off the early afternoon, and then the upper 70s to end the day. It's nice, it's pleasant, it's dry, and it just really makes for an amazing day. But as I mentioned, pick of the week actually comes with a multiple choice because people have preferences. I know a lot of people that like hot and humid air, and then other ones more like of the comfortable fall-like air. So what do you all choose? Jeb, I'm going to start with you. Are you more of a fall pick of the week or a summertime pick of the week?
Obvious a fall like that. That looks absolutely torrid. I cannot believe it's gonna be 89 degrees again. I'm done.
Beautiful.
And super humid.
Yeah. I'm not. That sounds horrible.
That's today.
No, that's
Pick of the week, Monday.
Yeah, but see, so Jane, I think you were doing something else, but this is a multiple choice pick of the week because people have either a preference for more fall-like weather or more of a hot and humid. So what pick of the week do you choose?
I'm gonna go. I do like the fall. I like the dry, sunny, high of 77.
Yeah,
78.
And essentially that's much of the afternoon today. So I am also a fall fan, but then I've had a number of people that really like the hot and humid weather. It's a smaller percentage, I'm going to let you know that. But yeah, 89 is actually going to be very humid and hot, and especially when you start off how dry it is today, today's an easy choice. But the good news is you can Control-C and Control-V in the weather world and copy and paste today and put it tomorrow. That's exactly what we have. And it starts off the same too. This morning we dropped down to around 58. Tomorrow's lows around 58 degrees. It's just during the afternoon that it is going to be a lot warmer. And as far as the real feel goes, it is going to climb slightly, but we're still in that amazing range that we don't have really super humid air to go around. It's going to start to feel really uncomfortable once you get into your Thursday, and then that's going to hold true heading into the weekend as well. So here's your 7-day forecast. 80 degrees, feeling great for your Labor Day, which, by the way, is cool for a Labor Day, but it feels amazing. And then a similar day, as I mentioned, for tomorrow. And then we have the mid-80s for your Thursday and Friday. And then there's that 89 on Saturday. There looks like to be a little front that could push through, so that's why we're cooling down. The best chance for rain right now, 20% on Thursday and a 20% on Sunday. And you might notice on the bottom of your screen, and maybe or may not have noticed this throughout the year, that whenever there is a Knights game, we're going to have a little tile in the bottom right corner. So that represents the Knights are in town from Tuesday through Sunday. This is the second to last homestand for the Charlotte Knights. So if you're planning on going to a game, I highly recommend that you do it soon, just because of how amazing overall it feels, because you're not really going to beat a forecast that's like that overall. It just is truly going to be amazing. So if you want to go catch a Knights game, I think that is your time to do it. Where here's the forecast for tomorrow, which, by the way, it's Taquitos and Tall Boys on a Tuesday. That's at 6:30 35, taking on the jumbo shrimp. So just letting you know that. Real quick before I go, I do want to pivot here a little bit and go through a few stats, but then also talk about hurricane season overall. So our hurricane season is really heading towards its peak, and it's not quite there yet. September 10th is usually the exact peak, but we do have our first signs of really development for September, and it's not going to happen right away. So this wave off the African coast over the next 7 days has a 40% chance for development. Now, the next name on the list is Gabriel. Then it's Umberto and Imelda. It's usually the H's, the I's. They can be some of the worst, where I names are retired way more than any other name. So I'm looking at you, Imelda, and I hope that you're going to be nice. And especially Jerry to follow. I don't want no Jerry to be evil and mean storm. So something that we're going to be watching really closely. As for any stats and figures, we officially just completed August. Nothing that's really earth-shattering that really sticks out to me. We had the 32nd, actually coolest forecast on record is what they should say, and the 22nd wettest one. And what's interesting is that it would have been out probably in the top 10 wettest if we just got another 1.5 inches of rain, but we just stopped the rain all of a sudden. The first half of the month, only 2 days were dry, and then you went into the second half of the month, you only had 3 days that had measurable rainfall, so that's substantial. It was actually one of the wettest and coolest starts to August that we've had in Charlotte history, but then things quickly changed. And another thing to note is that this is officially the start of meteorological fall. So since it's the start of meteorological fall, we are going to start to keep our fall records overall. And fall is great here in the Carolinas. This is really the sweet spot here. So if you live to the north, fall is 2 weeks. Here it lasts truly a good amount of time. So here's what your meteorological fall looks like. I'm stalling right now because the computer just froze on me. But it starts off at 86 degrees for September 1st, and then it'll slowly drop to the upper 70s by October. There's the graphic. And then we eventually end our fall season in the meteorological world in the upper 50s at the end of November. So if you look at it, it's pretty much 10 degrees downgrade per month, and then that cool down starts to wind down. So welcome to fall, everyone, and it sure is feeling like it. 80 degrees is below the normal Labor Day, but it's one that it's definitely going to be enjoyable. Get outside. You don't have to worry about any passing storm on any grills. It's a good one.
Love it. All right, fall, y'all.
Yeah.
All right, look at this, Myrtle Beach.
Ooh,
looking good
wow,
for
that's
Labor
nice.
Day. Isn't that nice? Last barbecue before you head back home. And the Jersey Shore, right, Jeb? Mm-hmm. South Jersey. So a good day for you. And congratulations on your Knowles, Chris.
Oh, yeah. By the way,
unexpected.
I lowered my expectations. Admittedly, I didn't follow the offseason. I didn't realize that we had Auburn's old coach who coached Cam Newton. So he's our offensive coordinator. We got a new quarterback from BC. And I did not know this. This is a crazy stat, Jeb. Florida State crushed Alabama's 23-year first game streak.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. Concerns for the coach there, DeBoer.
Oh, very much, but not here in Seminole Nation.
And, oh, this is what we started. And we have winning teams now to start off the football season, right? For our alums.
All three of us.
All three of us. The U,
Mizzou won too?
Mizzou,
Yeah.
Okay, Mizzou.
Miami
and then
beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, Miami had the best game of the weekend. That
It was
fantastic.
pretty exciting.
yeah, Miami should have a good season until they play Florida State.
Well, now, who knows what will happen.
That'd be a great game.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Back here in the Live Impact studio on WCNC Plus time right now, just about 9:10. And we want to talk about a very important message this morning about a dangerous trend that safety advocates say is entirely preventable. Children left unattended in vehicles that are subsequently stolen. Joining us right now, Amber Rollins, Director of Kids and Car Safety, an organization that tracks these types of incidents nationwide, including a recent one here in Charlotte that just popped up on your radar not too long ago. Amber, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Amber, put this into perspective for us, the number of cases across the country with, just like I said, cars that are stolen with kids left inside.
Yeah, so every year we document several hundred of these cases nationwide, and it's happening way more frequently than people think. These are cases where a parent ran into the gas station to pay for gas, or was getting ready to leave the house with the kids and forgot something inside and ran back into the house. And these thieves are watching and waiting because they know where people feel comfortable leaving their car running for just a minute to go back inside. And they jump in, they take off. Most of the time, they don't even realize there's kids in the car until they've already taken off with them. So here they are, just wanting to have stolen a car. And now they've kidnapped children and they panic. And there's a lot of varied outcomes. Most of the time, the children survive. Unfortunately, there are some cases where there were fatalities. But, there's terrifying situations that result: Amber Alerts, high-speed chases, children abandoned on the side of a road. Really just very, very scary stuff, and 100% preventable.
Yeah, I want to play a PSA from your organization that illustrates this exact thing. Let's play this right now. It's about 40 seconds long.
Every week, cars are stolen with children who are left alone in the back seat. It happens in driveways, parking lots, and even in the safest neighborhoods. Car thieves watch and wait for somebody to leave their car running or their keys inside. Typically, they don't even know that there's a child in the back seat until they've already stolen the car. It only takes seconds for a car thief to jump into a vehicle, but the effects can last a lifetime. Never leave a child alone in a vehicle, not even for a minute to run back inside the house or pay for gas. For more information, visit kidsandcars.org, or you can find us on social media.
And Amber, walk us through what happened in this Charlotte case. What stands out to you about this incident that happened recently?
Well, it's a pretty typical incident. The child left alone for just a minute. And, as a parent, I've got young children, and especially those of us who have kids with the 5-point harness still, it's a lot of work to buckle and rebuckle and buckle and rebuckle. And sometimes it feels like that's all we do. But it's a convenience thing, right? And that's what happened in this situation is, the child didn't need to be left in the car. It was a choice that person made, and it ended in a very terrifying situation. And, even when these kids survive, the trauma they experience from being taken and the trauma the parents experience is really, really difficult. And again, just such an avoidable situation. You talk about law enforcement resources too. These Amber Alerts that are issued, they can be, $70,000 or more dollars in law enforcement resources that are precious resources that could be devoted to something, that isn't preventable. This just shouldn't happen. We have so many options now too.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about locations, time of day, those circumstances. It's of convenience. You think it's going to be real quick. Any thing that, more common than others as far as circumstances go?
Yeah, we definitely see this happening at places like convenience stores, gas stations, where people do typically just run in for a quick second. And the car thieves know that people are comfortable in those situations with leaving either their keys just sitting on the dash or, even the car running, which creates a really quick opportunity for them to hop in and be gone. And it just literally takes seconds. Once they're in and they're off, that's it. There's nothing you can do.
And many times the thieves don't realize that there's a child in the back seat, right?
Yes, and it's a big shock to them as they get out on the roadway, and then there's this little voice in the back seat. Who are you? And what are you doing? And that is terrifying, right? You just wanted to steal the car, but now you've kidnapped a child. This is a very different crime, and most of the time what happens is they quickly abandon the vehicle and the child. Sometimes they will even take the child, set them on the side of the road. I remember one case where they handed this child, this baby, to somebody through a drive-through window and then took off. And then, of course, there's been some really, really tragic cases where children have tried to get out, or the parent actually got to the car in time and tried to get them out, and they became tangled and dragged to death. And really some other pretty awful situations.
All right. So, Kids in Car Safety, your organization provides several safety tips for the parent who might be thinking, I just got to run in for a quick minute. What do you say to them, and what do you think parents struggle with the most?
I would say to them, I totally get it because this parenting thing is a lot of work and it's a lot of buckling and unbuckling and rebuckling and unbuckling. And I want to give just a little bit of a warning. We tend to see these cases increase as soon as the temperatures start to get cooler. Parents don't want to get their children out in that cold weather. So just remember, parents, we have options these days, and I want you to set yourself up for success. Think about online grocery shopping, delivery. You can pick up your groceries at the store without ever having to leave your vehicle, pay for gas at the pump, and just set yourself up and do as much planning ahead as you can so that you're not put in those situations where it is tempting to just leave them for 1 second and you think, what could go wrong? But it's not worth it.
All right. Like you said, this is preventable, simple tips. We get it. Do what's right for you and your family so you save yourself the aggravation and concern. I mean, my goodness, I can't imagine. Amber Rollins, Director of Kids in Car Safety, thank you for joining us this morning. Very important message here on Live Impact News. Appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you so much. Stay safe.
You too. All right, time right now, just after 9:15. That is a good time to take a quick 2-minute break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We'll be right back with your local headlines. Stay with us. Good morning, everybody. I want to bring you some breaking news right now at 9:19 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Just getting word out of Richmond County, the sheriff's office there requesting the assistance of the North Carolina SBI. This is because of a shooting that happened this morning around 4:30. SBI agents and crime scene investigators on the scene collecting evidence right now where a fire alarm occurred. This is on Green Lake Road in Richmond County. And the fire department responded. What ended up happening is that a firefighter was shot during this response. He was airlifted to UNC Chapel Hill for treatment. One person has been arrested, and the investigation continues at this hour. But we move from that now to what's happening live. This is out of, where is this out of, Jeb? Slovenia. Okay, this is the Bled Strategic Forum of 2025, where they are bringing just a international conference, if you will, bringing leaders together from different fields to discuss key challenges in the 21st century. Let's go ahead and listen in on Live Impact News on WCNC+.
Such a good place in Slovenia that if we go through the list of things you have and we would wish to have, it's huge.
Are you absolutely sure?
But there is one thing in the list where we beat you, which is optimism. You are quite depressed here, you know, and you know, because it's so perfect, it's so beautiful, and you are really scared that who touches something will do something wrong, you know. While in Albania there are so many things we need to continue to improve and to adjust, that is just the drive. And secondly, to your question about what happened in China, here comes the part that has nothing to do with our negotiations, but has to do with me as a European, free European. I believe that Europe should have been there. So I believe that Europe should be everywhere where the world meets. And Europe should give up on Europe. It's not just Europe, it was the whole collective West until a while, since a change happened in America, but should give up on trying to impose to the others its own way of living. What we need to do is to protect our way of living from the others, but not to select friends and to select whomever we want to talk with based on their ways of living. So it's because yes, and by the way, I represent a country that fully stands with Ukraine, and the only country, I believe, in Europe that since the fall of the Berlin Wall never had a visit to Russia or never had a guest from Russia. So nobody can say that I have any kind of confusion in my mind, but I believe that Europe should not wait from the other side of the ocean what's next with the peace plan. Europe is first and foremost peace, is culture of peace, is peace and culture. So of course we have to defend ourselves, of course we have to improve our defense, of course we should not rely on others. But how comes that we don't have yet a plan? And what we wait? You know, we wait for what? For the next move. So Viktor Orban, you know, is a very controversial figure, good friend. I appreciate a lot Antonio. I appreciate a lot Victor. I appreciate a lot this gentleman here. And I don't base my appreciation on how much I agree or don't agree with someone, but how deep the conversation goes. And when he mentioned ceasefire some time ago, he was treated like a pest. He was treated like you know, like the waste biological bag, you know. And when suddenly someone else on the other side of the ocean mentions ceasefire, suddenly Europe discovers that there is also ceasefire. But it's too late. It's too late. Nobody is going to fall for it. Now what we are waiting? We are waiting that someone else finds something else, and then we find ourselves in front of a fait accompli, and we become isolated even more from others. And to conclude, a very dear friend of all of us, I believe, from another country out of Europe, in the Middle East, asked me, have you counted how many friends you had before the war and how many you have since the war? And this is a question that we have to make, because we don't have any reason to not be proactive with all the forces that are out there, and to not have our own, like Antonio said, very rightly so, our own deals, our own communication. And when it comes to the enlargement, it's not it's not really, what enlargement is to get Montenegro in. Even if Albania get Montenegro in, it's not enlarged. It's practically from very small to too small. So what enlargement is to get Albania in? What enlargement? Enlargement. What enlargement? We both are like, I don't know.
Powerhouses.
So.
Get on with it.
So
is the message.
But if EU enlarges with us, it gets stronger. It gets more compact. Why? Because it doesn't leave a part of the body open for viruses, for microbes, for assaults, for infections, and so on.
Exactly.
And this is the point. So if tomorrow things go in a different direction, this will be a wound open in the middle of Europe. While if we are in, we are simply, closing a space where from a very little space it can become a big problem. And we are the only reality in the history of geography, I believe, that I'm talking wrong like an Italian.
I have to prove you wrong, see?
So we are the only reality in the history of geography to have two borders. I mean, the European Union has two borders. One outside border, like everyone else, and one inside border. And within the inside border is me and him, Now, what enlargement? Close this, get rid of this inside border. Single market, we entering in a single market will be China or Japan threatening Europe. Bring us in.
Thank you, Eddie.
And we bring some fun. We bring some fun, some optimism, some youth, some desire for life, some
okay, we got it.
Happy marriage, Prime Minister.
I'm on a mission here to prove that you are wrong, not in what you just said, but in the fact that I'm an Italian moderator and you're a Balkan panel. I'm on a mission to prove you wrong, right? And so,
prove me wrong.
As in, not on what you just said, but on the fact that we have to end on time. And so let me end with
I can prove myself wrong all the time.
A final question to Milojko and to Robert, and it's a very short and crispy one. Tell me one thing, just one thing, which you could point to when we meet again in 1 year. Here we are in a situation in which it's not a 50-50, glass half full, half empty. Let's say it's a 2/3.
No, I don't accept 50-50. So make it 70-30.
Okay, 70-30. I want it to have an 80 or 85 next year. What is the one thing that should be done, can be done, and that you will do to make sure that we get to that 80-85% by next year? Milojko.
Sorry, 80-85% of what?
Of the glass being half full. Meeting the bled.
An attack from Russia to Montenegro will do it.
And I want it in 30 seconds.
Then we have a third world war, as Trump once said. Actually, getting Montenegro into NATO was one of his concerns in his first mandate. I'm joking. So, but it's
because he doesn't know the size of Montenegro. This is the problem.
No. He's probably very well aware of the size of Montenegro. But it's, I think the economy. Going back to the basics, guys, the economy is all, how are we going to pay for defense? How are we going to pay for many other things? How are we going to keep the political support?
Why you don't even need defense? If you are all occupied, you are occupied.
No, hang on. We need a distinctly, I would say, different and better story on the economy by
connecting the economy and real life of the citizens with all the geostrategic approach that we need to do. Like we need the real, the people have to see the economy improving. This is the key.
Last word.
You want a realistic answer?
Yeah, but an optimistic, realistic answer.
Okay, the optimistic is they're going to close a record-breaking number of chapters in the next 12 months. You all and they mostly. And Antonio will find a way how to reshape the decision-making process in order to bring them to the final decision on whether they can get in or not. Unfortunately, realistically, it's going to take 2 years.
Okay, I can live with that. I can live with that. and being just, Eddie, 10 seconds
And we'll get you back
late,
to that live event happening out of Slovenia after this quick 2-minute break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We'll be right back. Time right now is 9:32. Thanks for watching us here every morning from 9 to 11. I'm Jane Monreal. We're watching, we're all watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Well, this morning we're learning that the mayor is calling for a special meeting with local transit leaders this week to address safety and security on the light rail. This is all in light of what happened 2 weekends ago when a young woman was killed on the light rail by the suspect who is now facing charges. And there was a candlelight vigil held last night for 23-year-old Irina Zorutska. Our Bria Smith did talk to several people who attended the vigil. Let's hear from these people that went out to support the young woman who came in from Ukraine. That is previously recorded and all in its entirety. You're watching WCNC Plus.
Innocent lives are falling through the cracks of the system, and then talk about ahead of Wednesday's meeting what you think city leaders, transportation, leaders can do to prevent something like this.
So, number one, again, I applaud CMPD and the Sheriff's Department for doing exactly what they're supposed to do, because we cannot blame them at all. They have done an upstanding job. They've been arresting DeCarlos DeJuan Brown since 2007 consistently and bringing him to answer for his violent crimes consistently for years. The Sheriff's Department, they're limited to booking him, and they've been doing the booking since 2007. The records are publicly accessible, and yet the DA's office and the judges are dropping the ball. Now again, I will point out that Judge Keith Smith and Judge Roderick Davis in the last year and a half, they have requested for him to have a forensic evaluation. And the DA's office has hemmed and hawed for the last year and a half, asking for extension after extension after extension without good cause. The budget is there. The money is there. Jeff Jackson knows that. Spencer Merriweather knows that. It is appalling and insulting to tell charlatans that they don't have the budget to have him undergo the forensic evaluation. It is appalling for them to allow, like you just mentioned, for these innocent individuals who are losing their lives altogether. And their families are not getting justice at all. 5 years have gone by. You've got Lucille Puckett's son. That's another example. This was Sean Harbin. Talvey Moore, a renowned drug lord here with an appalling serial violent criminal history. Same thing as DeCarlos DeJuan Brown. Voluntary dismissal after voluntary dismissal. Violent crime after violent crime. He has also equally 3 to 4 bond forfeitures on his criminal record. How does a DA explain that? How does a judge explain seeing that in the record and then giving this person the ability to sign themselves out on their own recognizance or giving them a bond at all? These are not like simple petty crimes. You're talking about possession of a firearm by a felon, burglary, robbery with a dangerous weapon, assault on the female, several assaults on the female. So there is no excuse for any of them.
And this one ended with a lifelong.
You got it. 2004, since 2004 with Talvey Moore, Talvi Moore. No justice. And then you have these spineless judges like Karen Edie Williams who had the authority at that time to convict him and did not stand firm. Just like Carly Archie, she fails us all the time. She's soft on crime. She wants to give mass shooters a slap on the wrist. Don't do that anymore. How in the world is that proper adjudication? Yet they want to terrorize regular charlatans in civil cases and other petty issues that do not take precedence over these types of crimes.
Talk about, the SOP earlier this week kind of called out
Yes.
Mayor Bilal.
Yes.
And that in one of her statements, a mention of hers was that essentially, paraphrasing here, to take mental health
Yes.
seriously.
Like cancer or heart disease, and I equally found it insulting.
So what do you say to that? What is your response to her response?
You got it. So I actually made a formal response 2 days ago, and I called it out for what it is, which is political apologetics. And Charlotte is tired of it, and it is insulting. It is insulting to Irina. It's insulting to Ukraine. It's insulting to charlatans. It's insulting to Lucille's son, Sean Harbin. It's insulting to Josina's husband, late husband, Lamar McNeil, my lifelong friend, to see individuals have to deal with things like this. It is insulting to Elder Lanji, who was killed doing missionary work, killed on Betty's Ford by a drunk driver. They caught him, CMPD, brought him to justice, and there still hasn't been justice by the DA's office, by the judicial district. We have a problem with our judicial district. Point blank, period. And the incumbent mayor is grossly incompetent. She is unfit for this job. All she is worried about is FaceTime. And all she's talked about in this election cycle is making history if she is elected for another 2 years. She's just worried about making history to be the longest running mayor. And nobody wants her still in office.
What is lastly your message to Zaretska's family? She obviously came here to seek freedom, to seek peace, to seek a better life. Unfortunately, all for it to end. Only 2 years removed from me. I just moved to this area
Right.
for an upgrade in life, right? So in a lot of ways, I kind of share her goals, her aspirations there. But what is the message you say to her family who can't be here today to do this?
You got it. So I reached out to the family, and I also reached out to Tatiana. We tried, and I don't blame them for not wanting to be, out and about right now. How do you make sense of it? Now, I'm of Haitian descent, so I understand the process of immigration. I understand looking for a better life. And for them, the world has wrapped their proverbial arms around Ukrainians, because what is going on is absolutely barbaric. In a war-torn country, she's thinking, okay, I escaped. Can you imagine the joy she felt arriving in America and thinking, okay, I've got my freedom. I can get on this train and go about my business freely. And then her life is taken. It is disgustingly sad. I had to just take a moment, because it is just, like you said, you're close to her age. Well, I'll be 49 in December, and I remember how bright-eyed and bushy-tailed I was at 23. And I can only imagine, again, how excited she was, knowing, okay, I made it out. Can you imagine the plans that she had set ahead of herself? Some will never know. And it's so unfair to her and her family. And it really is a bigger picture type of thing here, because what are we doing? What are we telling each other? That we have no standards? And my dad taught me that standards only offend those who have none. Where is the standard for holding a murderer accountable immediately? Holding someone that has an appalling serial violent crime or criminal history accountable immediately. Constitutionally, he should have been in those trials, and those trials, he should have been found guilty. There was evidence sufficient to find him guilty. There's no explanation by the DA's office for these voluntary dismissals. One thing has absolutely nothing to do with the other. Mental health is not a defense for every crime. And it cannot be a defense for every crime if he's got a pattern, because then they are telling on themselves inadvertently that they have dropped the ball. You don't have a pattern of violent crime 3, 4, 5, 10 years, and the DA's like, oh, we don't have a budget for the forensic evaluation. Standards only offend those who have none. So their political apologetics tells us that our judicial district is compromised and corrupted.
Thank you.
Yes.
And it is worth a mention that is Tigress McDaniels. She is running for Charlotte mayor. Right now, we want to take a quick 2-minute break here on Live Impact News on WCNC+. We will be right back. Hi, everyone. It's 9:45 on a Monday morning, Labor Day. I'm Jane Monreal. You are watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. So as we wrap up this Labor Day weekend, for many shoppers, that means it's a great time to take advantage of some of the year's best deals, best sales around. But with so many stores to choose from and varying holiday hours, it can be overwhelming to know where to go and when. Joining us this morning right now is Stephanie Carls. She is the retail insights expert from Retail Me Not, trying to help us navigate today and all of the things that go with shopping. I love this subject, Stephanie. Thank you for joining us here this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so Stephanie, let's talk from a retail perspective. How significant is this shopping weekend compared to other holiday sales events throughout the year?
Well, Labor Day has definitely turned into one of the biggest shopping weekends of the year. And the reason is because retailers are clearing out that summer inventory. And this is when they are putting those best offers out there, especially when it comes to home finds. So furniture, mattresses, appliances, even some of those viral Halloween pieces that we've seen early on this summer. And so if you are looking for big ticket savings before Black Friday, this is going to be the time to shop. And so I'm sure a lot of people were seeing a lot of these different sales over the weekend, of course, and they're still continuing today, and there's still plenty of offers that I think are going to be pretty hard to pass up.
All right. I love it. So one thing that can trip up shoppers on a day like today is which stores are actually open. Can you give us a little bit of a rundown?
Well, a lot of the major retailers are going to be open. So especially as you're looking at Target, Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, even Ace Hardware, these are going to be some of the stores that have some great deals, of course, for in-home and even outside. And so if those are some of the different items that you are looking for, definitely head there. Of course, some clothing stores, of course, are going to be open. We are still trying to say, even if fall clothing is tempting and it's calling your name as you walk into those stores, that is on our list of hold off, don't do it quite yet. So taking a look at some of those different summer clearance items can still be fun. Everyone loves to layer, so you can start off there. But yes, there are a lot of great retailers that are open today, and of course, open and having great sales.
Yeah, I do like the end of season sales. So it's hard to buy summer stuff when it's getting a little crisp here, but that's all right. Everybody
That's
likes
right.
a good bargain. I did notice Costco always closed on Labor Day. I actually had plans to go there on my lunch break. Any other major retailers that we might not recall that are closed today?
I actually don't have more than, Costco was one of them. And I think that we are seeing some various, changes in hours. So it's definitely one where if there is something that was on your list, just double check to make sure, one, that it's open, and two, that you're going to get there if they are open. And if they have some different hours, just definitely check those hours before you head in.
Labor Day weekend coincides close enough to back to school season. What are some of the categories of stores maybe parents should prioritize thinking of those last minute school supply runs?
There's definitely going to be some great opportunities. Of course, Labor Day is known for anything that is, inside your home. So as we were talking about earlier with the furniture, mattresses, refrigerator, washer, dryers, that doesn't have anything to do with school. So those stores, they're going to have those things, will kind of pass on. But back to school, you're still going to see some great opportunities at Walmart and Target, even online at both of those different stores, as well as Amazon, even Best Buy. There's going to be some really great opportunities to grab some of those different items, especially as you are looking into tech. Just be aware that this is going to be one of the times where, yes, you can get some great sales, but you want to pay attention and make sure that if it's not needed right now, the next best time to have the lowest deals are going to be around Black Friday. So I know that tech, of course, is going to be top of the list. And so you can buy early. You know, right now, those best discounts, of course, are going to be in November, but you can still find some great ones, especially for back to school, and especially on those ones that are maybe a generation behind, as a lot of new phones are. One just came out with Google, and of course, Apple is ready to introduce theirs. So the, past generation is going to see larger sales and larger discounts. So pay attention to those, especially as you go into the new school year.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe Black Friday. That seems like a little bit of a ways from now. How should people start planning ahead if they want to do exactly what you're saying?
I think the biggest thing, especially right now in the world of unknowns, as we are all seeing with pricing, and especially even going and looking at inventory. So start making that list right now, because as you start to look at some of the different sales that are still going to happen between now and Black Friday. Black Friday, of course, is going to be the top one. As you're starting to look for different discounts, but just paying attention to that list, because inventory, of course, is going to be that concern. I know a lot of people are talking about that as well. And so once you have that list, we like to call it precision shopping. And so this is taking advantage of the different sales opportunities that are happening and then stacking your savings on top of that. And so this is planning in advance for you to get the best possible price, especially in the time that you have. And so taking a look at those different sales, but then also combining those sale prices with promo codes, also cashback offers, this is going to help you get the best deal. And so if you start to look at some of those different items on your list, there is going to be plenty of time for you to maybe even start grabbing some of those different things now, especially if they are in stock, and especially if there is a sale going on. It's much, much easier to not be stressed now, and even stretch the budget so it's not this one big hit once December hits. So paying attention to those things will definitely help out.
And a lot of people are asking, where's the money? They're very budget conscious. So good advice there. A little preparation goes a long way.
Especially right now, you're correct.
All right. Stephanie Carls from Retail Me Not, thank you for joining us on this Labor Day. Happy shopping.
Thank you. Yes, happy shopping. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, so news you can use here on Live Impact News, even on a holiday like today, like Labor Day. Right now, we want to talk about some of our local stories happening. Distracted driving is one of those laws. Hands-free driving in South Carolina taking effect starting today, where lawmakers are taking this new approach to cut down on the numbers. So Governor Henry McMaster signed this measure into law earlier this year, calling it a way to help save lives on the road. South Carolina Hands-Free and Distracted Driving Act is going to prohibit holding or supporting any mobile device while operating a vehicle. So that means no texting, scrolling apps, no sending mails while you're driving, or watching any videos or video calls while driving. Back in 2023 alone, distracted driving contributed to more than 9,000 crashes statewide, including over 2,000 in York County, according to the South Carolina Department of Public Transportation. Rock Hill Police K-9 recovering after being stabbed by a suspect during a chase. Officers say 35-year-old Travante Tate attacked Apollo during an arrest late Thursday night. Apollo was rushed to an emergency vet and has since been released from observation. That's good news. But now the suspect's now facing multiple charges, including attempted murder and harming a police dog. And in Lincoln County, a popular vineyard is now vowing to rebuild after being destroyed in a fire. This happened at the Wood Mill Winery over the weekend. The business posted a statement on social media saying no one was hurt, and they're not aware yet of what caused the fire. So we'll be following those news stories as we get updates. We'll update you here on Live Impact News, WCNC Charlotte, on air and online. Right now, we want to take a 2-minute break. Why not? As we come up on 10 o'clock on a Labor Day. Hope you're enjoying yours. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. It looks like the BLED conference out of Slovenia is back in session at 9:45 here, and it's a conversation with Kaja Kallas, the Vice President of the European Commission. Let's go ahead and listen in live on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
We could deprive Russia of the funds to wage this war. That's why we are trying to find new ways of really what could we sanction so that they can't, circumvent. And I welcome also the decision by United States on the secondary sanctions, which is, helping Russia to gain from the profits of oil selling over the oil price gap.
High Representative, am I mistaken when I say that Europe clearly is the largest contributor to Ukraine, but when it comes to negotiations, when it comes to looking for an end to this war, it seems to be playing a rather secondary role? Europe is not setting the agenda here, let's be clear.
No, it's not true. I mean, any deal has to have approval of Ukrainians as well as Europeans, because any deal has to be implemented by Europeans or Ukrainians. So if we are not part, so that this deal would just not work. Yes, like we are not directly negotiating with Putin because we saw it already before that doesn't bring much result, because the pressure hasn't put Putin in a place where he actually wants peace. So we see that and we work on that track. And if there comes a moment where actually Russia is in that position that they also want peace, like really want peace, not only in words but also in deeds, what we don't see, then we can also discuss those points.
But if I understand you correctly, you're saying there cannot be a peace solution without the contribution, or rather involvement, of the Europeans. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just try to think about this in practical terms, not in theory, but in practical terms. So there is something agreed on whatever level, and then but the things are happening in Europe. So this war is in Ukraine, and all these security issues are concerning Europe. So how would that really work in practice? If there's a deal that, for example, I'm just playing with the thought. So if Americans agree with Russia on anything, but then Europeans and Ukrainians say that okay, that's fine, but we still keep supporting Ukraine so that they can defend themselves. So how does that work?
Now, let's see if the U.S. president sees it the same way. At the end of the day, there was this famous, or by now perhaps infamous, photo in the Oval Office of key European leaders sitting around the desk, listening to the U.S. president. Some described it as sitting like school kids. It's bad optics, isn't it?
Well, yes, we are living in times of optics, aren't we? But I think what is important is that those leaders also or President Trump has an ear for those leaders. And if he has an ear for those leaders, they can also, deliver all these messages. What they did also in Washington. So even if the pictures look like this, I think the outcome was very clear.
Yeah, you have called repeatedly for robust and credible security guarantees, of course, for Ukrainians. Interestingly enough, Commissioner Ursula von der Leyen says the EU has a very precise plan to send troops post-conflict to Ukraine with the backing of the United States.
When we talk about European Union, then we have to separate two things. One is the member states that are really deciding who sends troops. Member states, it's not the European Union competence. Everybody agrees or decides on their troops. But the European level issue, what we can bring to the security guarantees is that we have a military mission training now over 80,000 Ukrainian soldiers. And as we have said, the strongest security guarantee is a strong Ukrainian army. Second, we have a civilian mission, which is helping the police and border guard and all of this. We can expand those mandates so that they can help Ukraine more. And the third is the support to Ukraine defense industry. So these are the European Union level issues, what we can bring to the security guarantees and what we have also emphasized. But when it comes to troops, then all the member states are deciding themselves. And of course, these discussions are ongoing in the coalition of the willing.
Yeah, there seems to be positive signs coming from Washington that the U.S. will be involved in some form of security guarantees. But the U.S. president is known to have changed his stance once or twice.
That's true, but this is the room where we operate. So we hope that this stays, and the discussions are actually very practical. What does that really mean? What the Americans are saying, that Europeans should have a lion's share of the security guarantees. So it is a bit chicken and egg issue when we have the discussions. For example, on Friday we had with defense ministers of Europe, and some are saying that we are only coming if there is American backstop. But the Americans are saying that we are coming if you are providing the main. So we have to get everything ready on the decision making level so that we are ready if those security guarantees are really needed. But I want to emphasize that we are not there because Putin clearly does not want peace.
Yeah, and speaking of Putin, there was talks that there may be direct talks between President Zelensky and President Putin with attendance of the U.S. president. Those talks seem to be off for the time being. Rather unlikely, isn't it?
Well, President Zelensky agreed to this already like seven or more months ago, but since then Putin is just playing games. So he's definitely just mocking the peace efforts, and that's why we don't also see practically any signs that they are preparing for peace. Rather the opposite. They are preparing for more war. We have winter coming. We see that they are preparing attacks on civilian infrastructure infrastructure, energy infrastructure, to cause as much pain as possible. And that's why we need to prepare as well.
You've already mentioned that Europe is preparing for its 19th sanctions package, but of course it must be approved unanimously by EU countries. Hungary might be proving a stumbling block as it has in previous years. And you've also talked in Copenhagen about granting Ukraine billions of euros of aid from frozen Russian assets, also something that the Hungarians are not looking warmly upon. How are you going to break the Hungarian blockade here?
Well, first, we have 18 packages of sanctions where Hungarians are also on board, so we should not forget that. Of course, every time is hard. It's very hard discussions. It's getting harder all the time. I don't deny that. But they're still on board. When it comes to the frozen assets, then we had a very frank and open discussion with them.
We're going to break away from the BLED conference happening in Europe right now to bring you back to the United States. Happening live right now out of Massachusetts is a Labor Day rally right in front of the State House. They are just starting their live event on this Labor Day. Let's listen in here live on Live Impact News on WCNC+.
Labor movement! And we together as a united front will stand up against billionaires and fight against corporate greed.
We have the Greater Boston Building Trades Unions in the building. Give it up. The Massachusetts Building Trades Unions. Unite here, Local 26. Laborers, 1199 SEIU. The App Drivers Union. IBEW Local 103. Reminding us that there is no economic justice without racial justice. We got AFSCME, Carmen's and Machinists, and all our educated unions holding it down, the public sector. And winning contracts for union members all over the state. Keep building public sector, a public good. We have our community partners here this morning. ACLU, 50501, 5051, Unitarian, Universalist, Indivisible, Community Labor United. New England, United for Justice. La Collaborativa, Mass Senior Action Council, so many more. All of us here with us today, honoring workers in their communities and ready to hit the streets with us in solidarity. We even have some of our elected officials who are ready to throw down and march in the parade with us today. Like Mayor Michelle Wu, of course. Senators Warren and Markey, Congresswoman Presley. Let's go. Governor Haley, Attorney General Campbell, state senators and state reps like Lydia Edwards and Marjorie Decker, city councilors and mayors from Boston, Chelsea, Cambridge, Malden, and more. That's why this holiday, Labor Day, is so important. It invites us to remember that strong movements are made up of many communities, many leaders, many organizations, and many struggles that join us together in an unstoppable, transformational force, able to change the course of history.
And of course, that's why the labor movement is so important. We need the leadership of our members. We need the power of workers in our unions. We need the solidarity of our community partners and elected officials to continue the legacy of building a united front, to resist, to challenge those who have always tried to divide us. So today, on Labor Day, let's recommit to our shared struggle. Let's organize for respect and dignity in the workplace, for our families, for our communities, and let's fight for that world we know is possible together as a broad and diverse and powerful united front. And let's remind everyone Labor Day, it's better in a union. Because when I say union, you say power. Union, power. Union, power. When I say justice, you say now. Justice, now. Justice, now. When I say fight, you say win. Fight, win. Fight, win. Fight, win. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the rest of the speakers.
Now I'd like to bring up the Greater Boston Labor Council's Executive Vice Presidents. Without this incredible crew, we would not be able to do, and we would not be in the streets today without their leadership. Please give it up for Colleen Glenn from IATSE Local 11. Tiger Starbridge from AFSCME Council 93. Sam Dillon from the Boston Firefighters Local 718. Carlos Aramayo from Unite Air Local 26. And Lou Antonellis from IBEW Local 103. Marlon Washington from 1199 SEIU.
And of course, let's give it up for one of the most strategic labor leaders I know, a powerhouse in the labor movement, our dear friend and comrade, Brian Doherty from the Boston Building Trades Council. So now we'd like to invite Colleen Glenn, also a powerhouse in the labor movement, to introduce our next speaker.
Good morning, brothers, sisters, and kin. Happy Labor Day! I have the distinct honor and immense privilege to introduce to you all a real-life rock star, a card-carrying union member of LIUNA Local 22 and a longtime member of OPIU Local 6, a dynamic labor leader with a proven track record of being smart, strategic, fierce, dedicated champion who strives for economic, social, and racial justice in the workplace for working people in the Commonwealth and beyond. It is with tremendous respect and admiration I give you the president of the Massachusetts AFL-CIO and my friend, Chrissy Lynch.
Good morning, union siblings. Thank you, Darlene, the Greater Boston Labor Council, but mostly all of you for being here to mark this year's Labor Day, which is our annual reminder that is the working class that is the backbone of America, not the billionaire class. It's a day where, this is a day where we recommit ourselves to an economy that actually works for the working class. Because right now, our economy and our laws are rigged to favor the billionaire, corporate executive class. But it's only the working class, when united, do we have the power to demand laws and policies that grow the middle class, that raise people's wages, that ensure quality health care, retirement security. We want bread, but damn it, we want roses too. When we fought for an 8-hour workday and a weekend, when we said our jobs shouldn't kill or maim us, big business said no way. Now we say we want safeguards from AI stealing our jobs, our privacy, our data. And now it's the modern day robber barons and big tech that says no way. But throughout history, the collective power and sacrifice of millions of working people has led to the standards that created the middle class, including our right to a union. Those rights that we celebrate every Labor Day are being ripped up by a federal government that is hostile to unions in the working class in a way we have never seen before. All workers deserve the freedom, fairness, and security that comes with the union contract. But every organizing campaign, every strike is an act of radical hope. We bet our collective power that we can have a better life. One where we don't have to struggle to afford food, housing, and health care. Where nobody is targeted for who they love or where they were born. And where we can raise our kids with some hope that they will have a better life than we have. are anxious. We're anxious about our jobs. We're anxious about how we're going to pay our constantly increasing bills. We're anxious if we or our neighbors are going to get ripped off the streets by an inhumane regime. And I'm going to say this with love to every elected official standing with us today. We feel shut out by both political parties, neither of whom have done enough to provide economic security for the working class. Both parties, with love, have contributed to a system that prioritizes what corporations want over what our communities need. The platform of the Republican Party is blatantly anti-union. And those parts of the platform are being aggressively rammed through by this federal government that has power. The platform of the Democratic Party, to be clear, is very pro-union. But down in D.C., it is incredibly dusty. That's why recent polling shows that public approval for unions is 20 points higher than approval for either political party. Working people are hungrier than ever for a union because they know that we are their best shot to get a fair return on their hard work. Every year, corporate profits, billionaire profits, break new records. So does their influence in our elections. Project 2025, already over 40% complete, is the Trump administration's checklist on how to dismantle our federal government. Programs like Medicare that working class families rely on, the very laws we celebrate every Labor Day. Workers built this country, and when the middle class was the biggest, when the middle class was the most prosperous, union membership was the highest. The super rich paid their fair share in taxes, and the economy was far less rigged in favor of the wealthy few. We are here today to say that workers deserve an economy and a government for the people, not the billionaires. And when working people come together in solidarity, we will rewrite the rules to win back real economic power and revive the American dream. Thank you for standing with us today. Together, let's go kick some ass for the working class, using only the weapons of love, solidarity. Thank you.
When workers' rights are under attack, what do we do? When workers' rights are under attack, what do we do? Good morning, everyone. My name is Jessica Tang, and I am a BTU member and president of the American Federation of Teachers in Massachusetts. With the mighty Massachusetts Teachers Association and the Boston Teachers Union, we represent over 140,000 education workers and public service workers across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Now, Labor Day is both a celebration of the labor movement and a call to action for all to join us in our pursuit of creating better lives for all. For too long, the income inequality gap has continued to grow. The top 1% now controls over 30% of the wealth, while the bottom 50% controls just 2.5%. There are now over 700 more billionaires in the United States than there were just 25 years ago. The ultra-rich are getting richer, while those of us in the working class continue to fall farther and farther behind, making it harder to afford everything from housing to groceries and from healthcare to a secure retirement. And the growing gap between workers' salaries and CEO salaries is disgusting, and union busting is part of the billionaire strategy. That's because unions are on the front lines of fighting for not just better wages and working conditions for union members, but a better life for all. The current federal administration, however, has abandoned working people and abandoned our unions, cutting projects and funding that are causing Americans to lose their jobs and livelihoods, and implementing policies that are accelerating inequality. For example, over 37,000 manufacturing jobs have been lost since tariffs were raised 3 months ago, and every American is now paying for them. Federal minimum wages are on the chopping block, and the loosening of workplace safety regulations will put the health and lives of workers at risk. The firing the National Labor Relations Board member has frozen their ability to protect employees and enforce labor laws. And the greatest union busting move in history, ending collective bargaining rights for more than 1 million federal workers and counting. Shame. But that is why we are all here today. To say this unprecedented attack on labor, on regular working people, must end. The corporate greed that puts people over profits must end. We need leaders in all parties everywhere to understand that strong working class is vital to democracy, and we must put workers over billionaires. Not just today, but every day. So this Boston First Labor Day parade marks a new chapter in our city's history. Each stop along the parade route tells a story of labor in Boston, from the founding of public education to historic strikes to modern fights for fair contracts. I am thrilled to introduce a worker from each of these parade stops to share why they are here today, ready to march with pride and purpose to show everyone that it's better in a union. First up, we have Deshaun Simmons, a member of our sister union, the Massachusetts Teachers Association, who will talk about the first public school and importance of public education.
Good morning, Boston. My name is Deshaun Simmons, and I am a proud middle school history educator in Somerville. I also have the great honor and privilege of being the president of the Somerville Educators Union, 780 members strong, which is also part of the Massachusetts Association, which is 116,000 members strong. On this Labor Day, I want to lift up two important points for you. First, our unions are declaring in one strong voice that all of our students are welcome at our public schools. They are welcome at our public colleges. We will continue to treat our students with the dignity and respect that they deserve. We will continue to shield them from the harassment and intimidation from our federal government that it's unleashing on our students and their families. Listen, it is hard to be an educator these days, but it's such a joy to be with our students. We celebrate our school communities for who they are, wherever they come from, whoever is their family. We will use our skills as educators to help them build a world where all families can thrive and our democracy can flourish. We will fight for public education and for the public good. If you believe in schools where every student is safe and receives the support that they need, let me hear you make some noise. The second thing I want to lift up for you today is even if our law, our federal government fails us, our unions are going to keep fighting each day for all of our students and for our contracts to codify the services that our students need. Listen, in Somerville, we made it a priority to get $50,000 for paraprofessionals in this state, and we won. We made it a priority to get 12 weeks of fully paid parental leave, and we won. In this state, we made a priority to fund our schools using the Fair Share Amendment, and we won. These victories are the necessary investments to retain the most qualified and dedicated educators in our public schools. But they don't happen without a fight. To every worker here, I say dream bigger, fight harder, because we will not sit back and do nothing as politicians are backed by billionaires that try to gut public education and turn our schools over to private interests. Because when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. Thank you, Boston.
Next up, we have Natalicia Tracy, Executive Director of Community Labor United, who will talk about our second stop and how BlackRock is a symbol of corporate greed and why we must fight against Wall Street giants who profit over people.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Labor Day. My name is Natalicia Tracy. I am the Executive Director of Community Labor United. I'm here to invite you to join us on 60 State Street, the office of BlackRock. BlackRock one of the world's biggest financial corporation, BlackRock manages more than $10 trillion in assets, more money than the national economy of any country in the world, with the exception of the United States and China. Today, it's a day to recommit ourselves to the important struggle. Join us at 60 State Street in front of BlackRock office, because we must put people first and workers over billionaires. I'll see you there.
For our third stop in our Labor Day parade, Shamia Turner from the Sheet Metal Workers, Local 17, is going to share how history runs deep in Boston and how important Faneuil Hall is to the Boston Building Trades Unions, to United Food and Commercial Workers, and to the entire labor movement.
Good morning, beautiful people. It's a good day to be labor siblings with all of you. Thank you for being here. I represent Sheet Metal Workers, Local 17, and all of my building trade siblings. We will be at Faneuil Hall, the cradle of liberty, celebrating freedom, solidarity, and democracy. In the 1830s, the Faneuil Hall was the first site of the Building Trades Union meeting. And also, in the 1950s, the Food and Commercial Workers made history by organizing people who corporate entities wanted to bring in as scabs. Instead of abusing them because they're scabs, they decided to organize them into a union. Now, if that's not a story of solidarity, I don't know what is. So, as you join us on these stops, I want to ask you two questions. Who feeds America? We do. Who builds America? We do. So join me in this chant. Get up, get down. Boston is a union town. Get up, get down. Boston is a union town. Get up, get down. Boston is a union town. Now, you all are welcome. If you want to just wait for the parade and cheer them on, please, some of you, please join me over at Faneuil Hall. Just walk over there right away, and we can welcome the parade together. But other than that, happy Labor Day, everybody.
You've been watching live right now a Labor Day rally and what will be a parade or a march to City Hall there in Boston. Right now, we are going to take a quick 2-minute break, and we have a special guest coming up after the break to talk about mental health, life balance, work, all of that, all of the life-work balance, right, that we all need to have here on Live Impact News on WCNC+. That's coming up in about 2 minutes. Stay with us. Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. It is about 10:30 on this Monday, Labor Day holiday. I'm Jane Monreal. We thank you for joining us here on what is hopefully a day off for you and a day to just kind of catch up and take a break. Maybe travel to your final destination this morning. Things are really nice. Out to Myrtle Beach we go. A nice day for you there. And it is also a nice day the shore, the Jersey Shore, for the East Coast. So things are looking good right now as we take it upon ourselves to just kind of enjoy this day. And we are this morning talking about mental health, bringing in Labor Day. Of course, we celebrate the day to honor the hard work and the dedication of American workers, but it is also important to remember that our mental health deserves just as much attention as our productivity. And we want to have this important discussion with you right now. Lauren Howard, CEO of LB Health, joining us this morning. Lauren, thanks for joining us this morning on this Labor Day. Hopefully you're not working too hard.
Not too hard, no. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. I want to talk about this important subject. We can't really discuss enough how important mental health is, right? Now, at LB Health, they've been advocating that this time is good to focus on mental health. Why is this connection between work and mental wellness so important?
Yeah, I think, as LB Health as a company, we actually started focused heavily on burnout, toxic work environments, and workplace trauma. And we realized that a lot of the people who were coming in for that support were coming in because they didn't truly understand what the real definition of productivity was. Their understanding was that productivity meant I have to be doing something all the time that is incredibly active, that shows outcomes, that proves to somebody that I am busy, 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 when in reality, productivity can mean a lot of things. And the thing that leads to burnout is this feeling like we can never rest, not the feeling like you're working too hard.
I mean, we do struggle. I mean, we struggle with this idea of being on. Like right now, I am on. This is part of my work flow is to be on. We're on air and we're on the stream here live. So what are some of the signs, though, that someone might be pushing too hard and neglecting their mental wellness?
Yeah, I think it's, we often see this thing we call the Sunday scaries, which means Sunday night before you go back to work on Monday morning, you're nervous, you're anxious, you dread it, you don't want to go back. That's a sign that maybe you're overdoing it, or maybe that work environment is not conducive to the rest and the time off that you need in order to get back to it at the full level. In general, you'll see a sense of apathy toward work. You'll see a lack of eagerness to do a job that maybe you really enjoyed before, and a desire to be anywhere but, which, sometimes people have jobs they don't love, and that's the reality of it, and everybody has to earn a living to pay the bills. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to suffer through something that it makes you really unhappy.
All right. So as people head back to work tomorrow, so today having those, what do you call them? The Sunday sillies?
Sunday scaries.
Sunday scaries. Not silly. I don't want to demean it. But what advice do you have for maintaining then mental wellness the day approaching, the week of, especially in these high pressure work environments?
I think there's this idea that we misunderstand what productivity is and what the outcomes of it need to be in order for them to be valuable. So I say this a lot, especially to people who use our services. We also work with a lot of neurodivergent people, autistic people, and people with ADHD who struggle with executive dysfunction, and they don't always understand what productivity really means because they think it means just be busy. Rest is an activity. Rest is productive time. And when you start integrating that into your idea of what your productive time needs to be spent doing, it changes your perspective on this idea of busy versus getting things done in the time that they need to be done. Rest gives your body time to restore. It gives your your brain time to reset, your nervous system time to process through everything that you've experienced recently. And it doesn't mean you're going to sleep. It can mean disconnecting. It can mean turning off the phone. It can mean doing something with your hands instead of active work with your brain all the time. That is productive time because it's vital to the operation of your body and your brain. And if you start integrating that into your perspective of what successful work and time are, it changes the perspective a whole lot.
I love rest. I prioritize rest. I love to turn it all off when I leave here, as much as I love my job. But talk to me about Lauren, LB Health. You said this is what you guys do. Virtual mental health resources. How does your operation work, and how do people get involved?
Yeah, so we're available in all 50 states. We have assessments for adult autism, adult ADHD, as well as full mental health treatment. We also have psychoeducational groups. So, sometimes people maybe don't have a diagnosis or aren't interested in getting a diagnosis, but would still like the support that maybe would come along with it. And we make that available as well. Everybody can sign up directly from our website. You can talk to a navigator on our website who can explain the care. Most of it is covered by insurance in most states. And we try to make it as accessible as possible, both through taking insurance as well as creating programs that are affordable to those who are uninsured in the most accessible way that we can, because creating a solution that provides great services but that people can't access doesn't help anybody.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and technology hasn't been so great to be able to have that connection, especially for people who might not be able to physically take away a couple hours to drive to a therapist's office, but at least you'll be able to access that mental health support.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also work a lot with individuals who are in very rural areas who, short of literally driving hours to reach their nearest clinician and often waiting months, if not years, to get that care, wouldn't get access to that care at all. And so it really has opened up a whole lot of availability of very niche care. Neuroaffirming mental health care, especially with assessments for adults, is pretty hard to find. And it really has opened up a whole lot of availability to individuals who just assume they would never be able to access it.
And Lauren, talk to us about you don't have to be in a crisis to seek mental health help or support, right? Talk to us about the varying levels and examples, perhaps, of why people should seek maybe some support in a mental health capacity.
Yeah, I think that's a really big kind of misunderstanding of what mental health care is. Just in the same way that you don't have to have an active illness to go to your primary care, because preventative care is so important, you don't have to be in the middle of a full mental health crisis to go seek services. It happened to me personally several years ago now. I looked up one day and realized that the world just had no color in it. I didn't feel excited about anything. I love dogs, and somebody brought a puppy over, and I was like, it's okay. And that was, I looked around and went, wait a minute, I'm not myself right now. But I wasn't missing work. I wasn't missing deadlines. I was still spending time with my family. I just wasn't enjoying life in the way that I normally did. And this was before I owned my own clinic, but I'm saying this as a person who has an entire career and background in mental health care, knowing what to look for. And I still missed it because when it's you, it's different. And so eventually I talked to somebody and they were like, yeah, you don't have to be at the end of your rope to need support. And so that's why we have services available that are psychoeducational, meaning you can just go get support from clinicians and peers without enrolling in an entire mental health program. We obviously have mental health care as well. And then there are some people who know they need something, they don't know what it is. They think maybe there might be a diagnosis there. Sometimes it's neurodivergent, sometimes it's something else. And so that's what we have the assessments for. Do we support people who are struggling and truly in the middle of a crisis? As long as it's safe to do via telehealth, absolutely. But a lot of our patients are just trying to get through the day in what is a really, really hard time to exist. And life is lifing. It's okay, but they just want it to feel comfortable like it did before. And that's a really good time to seek help.
All right. I think it's a really good time to have this conversation on this Labor Day, where hopefully a lot of people are just taking it for themselves, reflecting and resting. That mental health, work-life balance, it is a challenge at times, for sure, Lauren.
Yeah, and I think if you start, we have to start changing our perspectives on how much time needs to be spent working and what work and productivity actually are. And if we start doing that, we can be a little kinder to ourselves on the days where maybe we don't achieve everything on the to-do list, but we found another way to restore our souls in a way that it needed.
I love it. Lauren Howard, CEO of LB Health. Where can people go to get some more information?
You can find us at lbhealth.com, lbeehealth.com. And then if you're looking for information on adult autism and ADHD assessments, you can go directly to late, D as in dog, X as in X-ray, latedx.com.
All right, Lauren, thank you so much for the great conversation this morning. And take care. Appreciate your time this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. Speaking of breaks, we're going to take one as well. Reset, give ourselves a little bit of grace, regroup for this last 15 minutes for Live Impact News on Live Impact News, WCNC Plus. We'll be right back. Back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, I'm Jane Monreal. Live event happening right now out of Chicago. The Holiday Inn and Suite Chicago downtown locked out housekeeping workers this weekend amid contract negotiations. It appears there is a demonstration taking place right now. Let's listen in live.
Kylie, chaplain of the Chicago Federation of Labor.
Name, title, and spelling, please. Name, title, spelling.
Father Cleet Kiley, C-L-E-T-E, K-I-L-E-Y, chaplain for the Chicago Federation of Labor. Seeing the giant Scabby the rat behind me reminded me that when Cardinal Supich freed me to work with the labor movement, he gave me one mission. He said, keep that rat off my front porch. And I'm proud to say that the Archdiocese of Chicago has a project labor agreement. And so we don't need to see that rat. And I'd like to tell the folks that are managing this hotel, maybe they want to get with the program.
Yeah.
Respect labor in this town. About 2 years ago, a group of Chicago hospitality employers hospitality workers, community leaders, faith leaders, young people whose futures are often tied to the hospitality industry, gathered and drafted a thing we call the Chicago Hospitality Charter. And that charter lays out some of the basic hospitality values that anybody in this business needs to observe if they want to do business here in our town. Unlike other industries in our city, at the heart of the hospitality industry, we don't find a product, but always and foremost a human encounter. You can't have a human encounter if you lock people out. Holiday Inn, you are in violation of our hospitality principles, and we're here to call you out on it. Apparently you never got the hospitality charter. Maybe you never read it. We've got copies of it for you today, and we're going to drop them off for you. Study this, and you better put it into practice. Among those hospitality values are the requirement to respect the dignity of every person and every worker. Holiday Inn managers, you owner affiliates with Level X Group, whoever that is, you need to behave. You need to observe our values, or get out of our town. You don't come to Chicago to do business in the hospitality industry and treat your workers so poorly. You don't drag out contract negotiations for more than 2 years. You don't come to our town and think you can get away paying your workers wages way below what their colleagues down the street are being paid. You put downtown on your hotel name to attract guests. When it comes to paying wages, you want to pretend you're not downtown. It does not work that way here. Another lesson for you folks, you managers and owner affiliates of the Level X Group. I want to keep saying that Level X Group. It sounds mysterious, like a shell behind a shell behind a shell. We don't know who that is. But they're responsible for this. When you do business in this city, whatever industry you're in, whatever group of workers are associated with your industry, you make a moral covenant with the citizens of Chicago and with all the other hospitality workers and all the other workers in this city. We cannot have you come in here and push for bottom feeder wages or benefits that are weak or undermine the good pay that other workers are already receiving. We can't let you do that. Right. We're here to tell you this morning, your business model is flawed. It's not working, and we're not going to let it work. And these workers are not going to let it work. It cannot stand. May I ask you, managers inside the Holiday Inn, and you owners affiliated with Level X Group, what the hell were you thinking to do a lockout on Labor Day in Chicago? Where did you grow up? You don't know that Chicago's the home of the American labor movement? You do this on Labor Day? Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame, 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 shame. So this morning, we're here to tell you, this is enough already. Get your act together, be a partner in our community, unlock the damn doors, return these workers, and sign the damn contract or get out of town. It's enough already. Can I hear that?
Yeah.
It's enough already. It's enough already. It's enough already. Thank you. Let me introduce Don Villar, the Secretary-Treasurer of the Chicago Federation of Labor. Thank you.
Thank you, Father Cleet. Thank you. And happy Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. And I would not want to be anywhere else but here with you all on Labor Day. I mean, Labor Day came because of the struggles here in our city, right? 131 years ago. George Pullman, down the South Side. You know, hey, you have to live in the company store, or you have to live in the company housing, shop in the company store, go to the company church, right? And when George Pullman wanted to get more money, he raised the rents, raised the food, lowered the wages, right? And that's why we have Labor Day. Because we went on strike 131 years ago and shut down the country. And then the National Guard came into town and brought down the strike. People died. Workers died and were hurt because we wanted justice. We want to be treated fairly. We want to be treated with humanity. But no. George Pullman, that greedy bastard, which is why we have Labor Day, is what's going on right now. So the owners, the managers of these hotels, they're just like George Pullman. And that ain't right. And you want to know something? George Pullman is buried over at the Graceland Cemetery under like 100 tons of concrete because he was so afraid of the workers. You, us. So that's why we celebrate Labor Day. And right now it ain't right what's going on, like Father Cleet said. You know, the injustice. I mean, you are not disposable. You deserve dignity and respect. Just looking at the workers behind me. You know, my mother was a member of Unite Here Local 1. So this is family. And I know the struggle that she, each and every day, going to work to support the family. And so when I see you all, I see my mom. And so, you know, and if somebody messes with my mother, hey, you know, there's going to be a fight. And there's going to be a big fight. And that's why we all stand in solidarity with you. You're not alone. Just like we did 2 years ago at the other hotel, we gave them a lesson. We're going to give these guys a lesson. That you can't do this on Labor Day. You cannot lock out workers on Labor Day. You cannot devalue. You can't treat these workers as disposable. I mean, you have children. I mean, they're here not to be millionaires. They're here to support their families. They're here to take care of each other. And to treat them like they're not wanted, that's a disrespect that we will not take on all days, especially on Labor Day. So, you know, solidarity forever. We are standing in solidarity with you. We're in this fight, and we're going to teach them a lesson, right? Thank you. Oh, I want to thank all our executive board members who are here. You're going to hear from them, and also Jesse Rios is here somewhere. There he is. So, I'll hand it over to Juan Campos, my fellow board.
Teamsters Local 705.
Good morning, brothers and sisters.
Good morning.
Buenos días, hermanas y hermanos.
Buenos días.
¿Cómo estamos hoy?
Bien.
My name is Juan Campos, J-U-A-N. Last name is C-A-M-P-O-S. Secretary Treasurer, Local 705. We represent over 17,000 members. 14,000 of those members are in the delivery business, UPS, DHL, CSI. And I'm going to tell you, those 14,000 members are going to be respecting this strike. We're not going to deliver shit. On top of that, we have 1,000 members who deliver food. Guess what? They're not going to receive any food in this place. We're going to respect this strike. Hermanos y hermanas, mi nombre es Juan Campos, yo soy el principal oficial del local 705. Aquí estoy diciéndole que estamos apoyándolos y de los 17,000 personas que están en mi local, 12,000 son de UPS, DHL, CSI y ni uno de esos van a cruzar su línea. Arriba de eso, 1,000 de esos trabajadores también son los que entregan la comida. Tampoco van a cruzar la calle. van a estar aquí apoyándolos hasta que el final, hasta que tenga contrato. I'll just wrap up with this. I don't care if it's 1 member, I don't care if it's 100 members, I don't care if it's 1,000 members on strike. We are brothers and sisters. We're going to stand together, and we're going to fight these greedy bastards that always take on the little guys and thinking that they're not going to get punched back. On top of that, I'd like to pledge $20,000 to the Striker Fund for Unite Here. So you got my promise. No me importa si son 1, 100 o 1,000 personas en la huelga. Mi local va a dar su apoyo y arriba de eso, de mi local le voy a hacer una donación a su fondo de huelga de $20,000 para que puedan estar aquí, pagar sus biles y todavía pelear con esta compañía. Thank you.
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Buenos dias. It's G-E-N-I-E, Kastrup, K-A-S-T-R-U-P. I'm the president of SEIU Local 1. Another Local 1 that started in Chicago. We are proud to be here with you. We represent 50,000 workers across the Midwest and over 30,000 in the city of Chicago. They are cleaners, janitors, security officers, airport workers, and the service industry. And we are just here today to say that we stand with you. Our fight is your fight, and your fight is our fight. And we're here to send a clear message to this hotel who somehow has forgotten that Chicago is a union town. That labor is not just going to stand by and let you treat these workers with disrespect. We demand that you get back to the bargaining table and negotiate a fair contract that is their industry standard. So we're going to stand strong, we're going to stand together, and we're going to show them who's that has the power in this city. And who's that? Labor. Cuando luchamos, nosotros ganamos. When we fight.
All right, we're going to take you from the housekeeping workers rally out of Chicago and now back into the Queen City. There is a Labor Day parade planned for today. That is happening at 11 o'clock. So this is the staging area just before the start of the parade, which is going to start here in about 2.5 minutes. We will leave you with this picture now as we come up on 11 o'clock. Charlotte Today is coming up next, and we'll join you again with Live Impact News starting at 12:30. Have a great day. Happy Labor Day, everybody.